you. You were so patient with me. Let me know whenever you're ready.
Yeah, we've been recording.
Oh,
Look at this.
fuck it. Awesome. That's even better.
That's how they do it. They're sneaky, these podcasters. You
Yeah, and I
watch
was
out.
preparing and rehearsing like this amazing intro of Matt Ruby, comic, writer,
You can still give
filmmaker.
it to me.
Yeah, there you go. I just said it. Awesome. Welcome and thank you for doing the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
That officially, it does have a name, but I'm like tossing and turning at night and hating it. Is that, I don't know.
It's a big commitment, you know?
It truly is.
It's like you're going to have to live with that for a while. You're going to have to say it over and over again.
Wow, thanks.
Yeah,
Gee,
yeah.
you just made it all worse for me.
Well, I've named things poorly in the past and regretted it. So I feel like it's worth that upfront time and like focus grouping, you know, just to put it out there in front of like 20 people and see how it
Oh
goes.
my God. My problem is that I feel like whenever I overthink is when I F up, is like that I should just go for my first instinct and
There's
stick
something
to
to
it.
that.
Because like at the end of the day, it's the content, not the name. But I don't know. It will stick. Do you like your own name?
My name, Matt Ruby?
Yeah.
Sure.
Do you like your name is Matthew, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Because when you were like, oh, once when you have it, that's it. That's kind of what the name is.
Names are weird because it's just what your parents decided to call you. Yet to everyone, it's like the most beautiful sound that they've ever heard. When you say someone's name, that's their favorite thing that they can hear, which is always
it truly is.
Where I'm getting at is like I'm bad at remembering people's names,
Uh-huh.
and they always the level of like anger you get in return is like, no, I was absorbing you as a person. It's not that I don't care about you. I just don't care what your parents decided to call you. But people are very offended by that.
True. I think everybody's more like faces rather than names.
That's
like
the way I am.
Yeah.
I would like to pretend that that's like a disorder because then I feel like people would be more respectful of it.
Just present it that way,
Yeah,
and
I have
people will be
anemic
applauding you.
aphasia. So sorry, just respect my disorder, please.
You are so brave for sharing
Thank
this
you.
with me
Yes,
right now.
I'm a victim, really.
Thank you so much. Let's shed light on this issue. It's like the reason why I asked you is because I've always hated my name. Even my name is Ljubica, which is spelled Ljubica. I'm obviously from another country. I don't know if my accent was what gave it away, but my name is literally like Meredith, or what's like a grandma's name in English? Is it Meredith or Rosemary or what? What is it? Is that even a name? Betty. Ooh, Betty. Ooh, that hit different for some reason.
That was hard. That was
really
hard
bothered me. Oof. Because it could be because I'm aging, or because I don't know, Betty White. I don't know. Betty is really old.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
what other names are old? I'm thinking now.
I'm trying to think. You don't hear them that much anymore
Right?
unless you're hanging out with like grandparents. Like my aunt was named Marcia. I feel like you don't hear Marcias anymore.
Marcia. There you go. Like my name is truly a grandma name. Like I got it because of my grandma. And when I meet somebody from Montenegro, which is where I'm from, if people are like they hear my name and they're like, oh my God, I love your name. And it's always followed. That was my grandma's name. It reminds me of my grandma. And it's like every time.
Well, then it's almost good that you're in America because here it's like fresh and hip and new. We have no idea that it's, an old person's name. We think it's like, oh, it's very chic. You know?
I can sell it to you. Like it's amazing. Although my nickname is Lubi, that I don't enjoy because it sounds like lube. But hey, like how did we get here?
In Serbian, what's your nickname?
Ljubi.
Oh, okay. Same
thing. Right. Yeah. I mean, my mom calls me Booby. So.
Nice. I've been to Montenegro, by the way.
No way.
That's true. Is that the lake up like in the northern area where like?
Oh, you were the Crno Jezero, the Black Lake?
I forget the name of it.
We have so many national parks. Such a tiny
it was like
country.
really pretty. It was like a lake with like these medieval towns. Then I went to some city too. I wasn't a very good tourist because I don't remember the name of anywhere there.
I mean, also our names are fucked up. Like
that's fair.
Ljubica. That sounds like Chewbacca almost. But were you just on a cruise ship and then you had a stop, or how did you end up in Montenegro?
No, a Russian friend of mine wanted to meet there. I was like, all right, sure.
Russian friend of yours?
Yeah.
A female friend?
It was a lady, yeah.
Did she rob you?
Eventually? No, she's a nice girl. She's a nice Russian. They're not all evil.
Listen, I'm Eastern European. Like I know my people better than everyone.
Okay.
So, okay, I'll trust you.
Yeah.
You're not concealing any fact. You don't have to tell me.
If she did rob me, I didn't even notice anything missing. So it was so seamlessly done. I give her credit.
Cool. Okay, so you had a good time overall. That was.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay. Cool. Were you born in New York? Or
I was born in New York, yeah. but
Holy
my
moly.
dad's Israeli and my mom's Russian, New York, Lower East Side Jew.
Hmm. You know, as an individual, living in New York and dating, and you know, you and I were talking about it. And I liked your post, and we'll get into that. I have noticed that native New Yorkers are the rudest dates,
Ooh, interesting.
and they will never even get up from the chair when you walk in. I've
Mm,
noticed that, and they just are so nonchalant and like, oh, whatever, like so
yeah.
unfazed by anything.
Well, I'll give
Mhm.
you
Not that I'm
some
calling you rude, God
no, well, I'll
forbid.
give you
You're a
context.
very
I grew up in the suburbs, not in the city, so, like,
mhm.
amongst actual, like, people who grew up in the city, I would not be considered a native New Yorker, like, I'm from, like, quote, unquote, "upstate," even though it's, like,
Okay,
30 minutes away, but,
which is
like
way cooler than
well, I mean, it's just suburbs versus city
uh-huh.
life is 2 different types of people, like, so for me, when I meet, like, people who, like, were born and raised in the city and went to
Mhm.
the school in the city, I always think of them as, like they were, like, 14 years old, yet acting like 38-year-old divorcees or something, like, their whole
Correct.
lives
It's
have
the
been on like, lived on fast forward, like, the shit they saw at, like, 12 years old, like, I didn't even, like, know about until I was, like, 35, so I just think their youth was, like, in such a different,
formed in different
modality or whatever
mhm.
the word is that, like, now they're like, I think it's tough for them to, like, deal with anyone else who wasn't didn't grow up in that same environment.
Correct. And I've been here for like 12 years now.
Yeah,
So like, you
it's
know,
a good run.
it's been a minute.
You count.
And I actually I hate when people shit on New Yorkers because I love them. Like they're just busy. They're not rude, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, I agree
So
with
I
that.
think that's the attitude of like, hey, what's up? Like you have an hour type of thing.
Mm.
But
Are
it
these
kind
people
of
off, like, dating apps too?
yes.
Because I feel like that can be very, like, sort of transactional in nature too, the meetup of, like, "Okay, is this person even gonna show up? Are they gonna look like their photo? Is, like, in, like, 5 seconds, will I not even
Hmm.
will I realize there's no chance this is gonna work out?" That kinda thing. So I feel
Yeah,
like, there's just that weirdness already.
it could be that. I don't know. Like I try to walk in like and always be very pleasant
Good.
just so you know everybody because it's just an uncomfortable predicament in a sense, so I'm like always like, hey, so nice to meet you, and you know like you know I do my part, you know I compliment or do
Mm.
something nice, and then like they don't get up from the chair. I'm like, okay, you're a New Yorker, you're forgiven, but it's a tad it was
Yeah,
tad
yeah.
off-putting in a
Well,
sense.
you and especially if you're looking for, like, someone to date or a partner, you'd like to think that they're gonna be considerate as opposed to like, "Alright, I got this much time, hurry it up."
Correct, correct. Is I think that females have a big fear of um guy not being as tall as he says on dating
Mm,
apps.
yeah, yeah.
And I feel like men are very afraid of women using too many filters and not looking
Mm.
like their picture. Is that correct to assume? Good.
Yeah, there's also just, like, a lot of, like, the photos where, like, things are hidden or, like, the like, what are you hiding? Are you missing a limb? Why haven't I seen your right leg in any of these photos? That kinda thing,
Ooh.
so but yeah, definitely filters. I think there's a lot of ladies out there who's like, is your face just blurry or maybe you're Bigfoot? Like, what is happening here? Because I how have you managed to
Do you
not
even
take us
exist?
you took it you've it's impossible for you to get a photo where you're actually in focus. How did that happen?
Interesting. I had a guy telling me once that a bunch of my photos you can't see my face well,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Ooh, is it is it me subconsciously maybe not doing that?" So I kind of was overthinking. It's like, no, I just like those pictures, and I had one that's such a super close up that I thought it was giving enough of here's what's up.
Yeah.
But apparently, if out of multiple pictures, just one is a close up, that's very sus.
Hmm.
I never thought of that
I
either.
mean, everyone's
I'm
very
catfishing
suspicious in
out there.
general. Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, I think a lot of people are like photos with sunglasses. I think are bad, or
Damn it, I
I don't
do
know.
it all the
Also,
time.
I'm like not an app person, so I'm like in part because of this what we're talking about in this conversation. Like the whole thing to me seems like frequently like a waste of time, and I prefer in person to
I don't know.
staring at a screen more.
I am very I don't know what my opinion is yet, and I'm open to changing it at any time, like with given information. But I feel like uh, I haven't been doing it for years. That like led up to me just not meeting people, and I got a little bit like not worried, but I'm
Wait,
like,
the apps led to not meeting
oh,
people, or just not being on
not
the apps?
doing on the not
Okay,
doing
yeah.
apps is like, oh, I actually I am not going out.
Well, like, it's been a race to the bottom because now people don't approach you in real life because they're like, "Oh,
Correct.
it's gonna be, too aggressive or I'm a creep or something else." So it's like this race to the bottom.
Correct. And I've noticed that like guys don't approach as they used to. Although a guy approached me on the train the other day. Is that creepy?
Depends on the guy and how he approaches, and, I don't think
But
it's
would it be something that you consider if you saw a beautiful?
I it's a challenging,
Isn't it?
dynamic.
It's oof.
I think I have done it before, and what I did was, like, I wrote a note and handed it to her with, my, like, information, and, like, I wrote something nice, but,
With
like,
your Venmo. Uh-huh.
yeah, but I also feel like, I don't know, I guess I've heard from enough women about horror stories on the subway and how, like, I feel like it's already slightly a battle zone for,
Mm,
people in general and especially women, so I feel like there's some amount of, like, whatever you're doing, just, some sort of quick interaction of some
mhm.
sort, but, like, having a long conversation, um but, like, whatever, if someone's into it, they're into it, and I do know a married couple who met on the
Oh,
subway,
there you
so,
go.
yeah, it's like, what do we if you gotta go to Astoria and you're, like, next to each other for, like, 45 minutes, on a train and you strike up a conversation, that doesn't seem that weird, but
That's not that weird. Correct.
how did
Correct.
you feel about it?
Um, I actually didn't mind it. I didn't like the guy,
Mm,
but I didn't mind it. He wasn't creepy. He was polite. But I think we if we haven't already, we are losing the train as
sh
a place to meet because
yeah.
women have just had so many bad experiences that even when you see somebody approaching, you already are
Well, I
like
think we're
in a
losing,
defense
like, the
mode.
bar as a place to meet or real life as a place to meet,
It's
trains, I feel like are already gone.
it's mortifying. It's mortifying. Like I am from older generations. I
Yeah,
don't even
me
know how to
too.
put it. Like we're probably similar age, and I'm like, it just used to be so much more fun. And now everything is a list. Everybody has a laundry list, and you know, let's go back and talk to your post that I loved, and I almost want to read it. Would that
Sure.
be okay?
Yeah, of course, go for it.
Because I was like, this resonated with me so much,
I mean, I can even
and
read it if you want.
I think that people are just becoming so full of shit. Uh, Why is dating so hard now? One reason is dating pool was raised on 90s show like Seinfeld and Sex in the
You're
City.
come on, I gotta do this. I
Oh, and
can't
my accent is ruined.
no, I gotta perform this,
I
alright?
insist. Oh, this is a treat.
Okay, why is dating so hard now? One reason, the dating pool was raised on 90s shows like Seinfeld and Sex and the City, where every episode was, "I can't date her because her pinky finger is too long," or "He smells like walnuts," or whatever. And as a result, you've got an entire generation that refuses to budge from unreasonable red flags. "He doesn't reply to my text messages right away. Red flag." He's an air traffic controller, all right? If he replies to your texts right away, people are gonna die, all right? So settle down and realize love begins with compromise. Your partner isn't some soulmate app where you get to tick off the check boxes you want in preferences. Human beings are a package deal.
Correct. This is so well said, and I mean, funny and accurate in so many ways. And it's just, first of all, when I hear red flag, that's a red flag for me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't wanna hear red flag anymore in my life. I don't wanna see posts about it. I'm becoming so aggravated, reading, and, like, watching videos from, like, dating coaches, and it's, like, so dehumanizing, and it's completely misleading insecure people. Because
Mm.
if you're seeking for answers from a dating coach who has no degree and just had 3 rich boyfriends and she thinks she knows everything. I think you're already in a bad spot mentally and emotionally in a sense. So you're looking for some guidance. And I think those are not the right places to, I mean, therapy for everyone.
Love therapy,
But
yeah.
oh yeah, I love it. And I feel like you said, "Oh, he didn't reply in 2 hours, girl, he's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, he split a dinner with you, never talk to that motherfucker again. Oh, he makes less than you, what a it's like all of these rules and the connection, the seeking of actual connection is lost. What happened to like, I'm talking to and I just like you
Yeah.
because we're talking and you're so much fun and I don't want this to end and we're laughing and like, let's
Vibe
just
and chemistry seem
yeah,
to have disappeared.
because everybody has a laundry list of now there's a thing called beige flag. I don't know if you've heard
I
about
haven't,
that.
no.
I have to like dig like deeper, but I'm assuming that's like something positive that you have about yourself, like a
Oh,
beige
okay.
flag. I'm sick of everything already, and like I said, when I hear red flag, I'm just like annoyed right away.
Yeah, well, I
And
like what I mentioned, that comparing it to like an app. I do think like what technology and our phones have done to us is just given us this idea that we're always supposed to get exactly what we want. And I think you see this in like the political realm and like
mhm,
news and dating and so many stuff where like our we just have a timeline where everyone agrees with us or tells us we're right, or is like amplifying views that we already have. So we're getting
mhm,
really bad at this idea that like, oh, this is another human being, and like I'm not going to get everything that I want. There isn't just like a bunch of like check boxes in the preferences screen.
mhm.
Like there isn't just a mute button, where I can make this person shut up and not have to consider their viewpoints. Like, and also like it's also why relationships I think are hard for a lot of people right now. It's like it's all about like there's a lot of compromise required. There's a lot of not getting what you want. There's a lot of having to be like, okay, well, this isn't what
Mhm.
I envisioned, or this isn't like, my perfect scenario, but my perfect scenario wasn't happening. So like now I
Mhm.
have to accept reality, and reality is like not always what you want, but like you figure out how to like work with it and navigate it,
Correct.
as opposed to just being like, I'm right. And if I'm not getting what I want, then the rest of the world is wrong.
And then not only that's the opinion, the others applaud to it. Especially like I've noticed that with women. Well, he
Yeah, you
didn't do
guys
this,
are,
and then you're like, you go, girl, you go get it. You
yeah, we
and I'm
gotta.
like, we have to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, not every woman is a queen. I hate to break it
Oh,
to you guys, because
please.
like, if everyone's a
I
queen, no
am
one's a
naturally, but
queen, like
the
well,
others.
but I feel like we've lost sight of how royalty works.
Absolutely, yeah.
Also, don't get me started on goddess. Not like like we've if everyone is a queen and a goddess, then these words mean nothing. So, but yeah, there's so much like support for each
Mhm.
other and very little, and in general in our society, like right now it's like you get a lot of currency from having a disorder or this trauma, or like you look at Harry and Meghan complaining about their lives so much, and like like everyone is trying
Everybody's
to,
a victim.
yeah, and
Mhm.
everyone's, and then we're all supposed to support that point of view, and also the whatever you're not getting, well, the rest of the world is wrong, and like there's very little like tough love going on these days of like,
No
oh,
tough
maybe you
love.
need to look in the mirror, or maybe you
Mhm.
gotta expand your radius that you're searching
Yeah.
for on an app. And I mean that like literally and also like metaphorically. Like, yeah, maybe you're not gonna get someone like next door who's perfect. Maybe you're gonna have to
Mhm.
expand your horizons and like
Yeah.
open up to some things that maybe weren't perfect on paper, but like you can manage in real
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, I think we need some more, tough parenting from the '70s and '80s where you're like, "Shut the fuck up," and just, suck it up. But everybody's just and I mean, we're all becoming such narcissists in so many ways, and we're gonna see the consequences of this, like, in 20 and 30, 40 years even more because all of this is new, especially with social media, and everything where, like, everybody again, queen, goddess, everybody has a podcast, everybody is the smartest one in the room. Listen, I just enjoy talking, so whatever. But what I'm saying is that, I it's everybody okay, so, I've noticed, and in New York always had it, it's the FOMO
Hmm.
as well. The fear of missing out, the fear that out there it's a better party, it's a better job, and it's spilling over into dating. And New York has always been like this, but now the whole world is like that, and New York is on steroids.
Swipe culture, I've heard it referred to, which I
It's
think
the
is a great
swipe
way of
culture.
putting it. It's like, oh yeah, I don't like this, next, 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 next. And sort of like I always think of it like, you ever see like those old people at the slot machines just pushing the button
Yes,
over and over again?
yes,
That's the young people's version of it, is just like left,
correct.
left, left, like I'm just like not having any of it, because also
But
there's an
yeah, it's
infinite
false.
well, there's
It's
also an infinite supply of things to swipe on. Like it never ends. There's no
correct.
so
So nobody's
then you
settling.
can, well, yeah, that's what they're selling, this illusion that like, oh, well, it's right
Correct.
around the corner. But
Yes.
like the way they make their money is if you never, you get married, they lose money.
They lose a customer
Yeah.
basically, yeah. So I totally understand, like, nobody's settling because it's always some like a new or better version or something better is out there for them. And, everybody again, like, I've also I mean, I'm talking from my experience, like, You
I think
you
you're
know.
representing a lot of
Yeah,
how a lot of people are feeling nowadays.
the thing is, like, I don't wanna sound like I'm bashing men because men have horrible experiences with women as well. I'm just,
Yeah,
speaking.
men are struggling right now.
Oh, I think women are struggling as well.
Yeah,
I think everybody's struggling, everybody's lonely, but nobody wants to do anything about it.
I think that's fair.
It's everybody's frustrated, but nobody wants to make the step towards, you know, I don't wanna sound change because that sounds like.
Yeah, well, like words like sacrifice or compromise or
Yeah.
settling, I think are like the sort of like the worst things you can do in our society right now. Like
You
you
never
should always,
settle. You're a
yeah.
queen. You're a
Exactly, and it's
goddess.
like, I don't know, like, I think a lot of people did a lot. I think marriage is a lot of compromising and settling and being like, "All right, that's not exactly what I wanna do, but, like, let's make this work," you know?
But New York has always sold that idea of never settle for anything. And I think, like, even for work or for anything else, you always feel like you can do more, you can do better. Again, going back to
Sure.
that FOMO. So the fact that it has completely taken over now the dating world as well, it's kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean, New York's
Everything
scary.
is like, am I doing okay? Should I be doing more?
You're not doing okay, you live in New York, you're already,
Something
like
is already wrong with me by
you're
default.
swimming in a fishbowl that's filthy, but,
Oh
like,
my God.
I don't know, but on the other hand, like,
What have we done?
I
Let's
hear,
go.
like, I was just thinking about how, like, I feel like couples in New York that are in love,
Uh-huh.
I think is like the most impressive kind of love
I
because it's easy to be in love like in the suburbs somewhere when you got like a 3-bedroom house and an office and a backyard and like be in love when you're living in a 1-bedroom apartment that's
know.
like 500
Wow.
square feet where you slam the door and know the other person's just like 7 feet away from you on the
That
other
is that is
side.
a true
Like
love story.
like
There's
that
dogs.
you mean it like when you're like sharing that amount of space and like yeah, and I think also, yeah, New York's a tough place. I think, there's a reason that a lot of people who, do eventually, graduate or move out or wanna go somewhere else if especially if they're married or have kids.
I know. I've been like plotting my way out for a while now, and somehow I always just don't do it. And I am ashamed of that a little bit. That I like this year I'm gonna make a change. But then when I'm looking at my options,
It's tough to go anywhere else, that's the problem. I think, New York is like screen time. It's like you know it's bad for you, you know it's poisonous, you know you shouldn't be doing it, and then you still can't stop looking at your screen.
yes,
And
yeah,
then, on Sunday, you get that notification of like, I spent how many hours a day looking at my phone?
that
What?"
is
And
that
that's
is
what New York
yeah.
is like. It's like you know it's bad for you, you know it's unhealthy, but also you can't put it down.
I know, but from like even like practical standpoint, like where do I'm turning 40 this year, right? All of my friends are here, all of my life is here. Where am I supposed to go? Make new friends all of a sudden on my own? That part is just so difficult.
Yeah.
Had I had like a business opportunity or like a job, I would maybe take that risk. But now to like willingly sit and apply for stuff where in Wisconsin, I don't know where I would go,
That's the
and
thing,
then
it's
start
tough
from
once you live here,
scratch.
then it's tough to live somewhere else and be
Correct.
okay with,
My
like,
whole life, all of our lives are here. You
yeah, and every night there's, like, 10 different, like, cool things you could be doing or places you could be going.
It's all the carrot and the stick almost.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, I mean, I love New York. I think
Oh, me too.
it's
Low
yeah,
key,
so
low key, low key, yeah.
but I think every New Yorker is, like, kind of in a S&M relationship with New York City,
You
like
literally just read my mind. I was like, this is an
It's
abusive
yes,
relationship.
yeah, but
I am a battered wife.
I can't break up with
I
this city. Like, I can't believe
can't.
you did that
Sex
to
is
me.
way
I
too
can't believe you
good.
did that to me, but, like, alright.
It slaps me all the time, but damn, the makeup sex is awesome.
That's what
That's what New York
that should be
is.
the new sticker. Yeah.
Instead of I love New
Yeah,
York, this
yeah,
is just a full sentence.
yeah.
Cool. I like that. I've also noticed that like uh a lot of going back to the same thing, like you go on a date and the guy is telling you like, "Oh, I'm opening up my own company, I'm into
Entrepreneur. Yeah,
entrepreneur,
yeah.
works out every morning with his personal trainer,
Mm,
meditates, has a journal,
wow.
and
This guy sounds great.
he sounds amazing." He of course never called me back, but they all like are telling you this story, like, and those are all amazing things, and I truly applaud. But they're like sell it as if they're so special and there's no one like them, and and I'm like, this is literally my seventh date with a guy telling me absolutely the same city. I think it goes back, like I said, for women as well. But are we all special? Did the
No,
Instagram sell us
no,
the
the word
story
that
that like I meditate, I journal, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a
well, does it
king?
I so a follow-up question I think would be is like, is the person presenting them do they think that they're special and unique? Because all those things are good, and if it's what this person does and they wanna talk about it, that's all fine.
Uh-huh.
To me, it's like, "Oh, is there an attitude behind that of like, and that's why I'm so unique and different,"
I
sort of thing?
believe
Because
that they
that
genuinely believe they're the shit.
yeah, I mean, I guess
And like, what do you have to offer? What is your list of achievements? This is what I'm doing.
well,
Like,
it also sounds to me like a preemptive strike against, like, this whole notion of toxic masculinity of, like,
uh-huh.
here's which is what we see, this is what's wrong with men and how they're so toxic, like, a lot of the
Mhm.
stuff that you just described sounds to me like some guys like, "I'm not, like, one of those toxic guys, I've been working
Uh-huh.
on myself, I do this
Correct.
and I do that," and
Uh-huh.
so it almost sounds a little bit more like it's trying to, like, preemptively, like, go
Oh.
against that sort of stereotype.
I actually never thought of it that way. I am such a judgmental piece of shit.
Well, no, I mean, like, I don't know these guys. They might
Maybe
suck. I
they're
don't know, but like, but
but
also I meditate and I have a notebook and like I might be this guy, So
I do absolutely the same things. I am
yeah,
also an entrepreneur who,
yeah.
does
So I mean,
therapy,
it's the
but
added.
it's
It's
just
like the
the
smarm, and is it coming with this whole attitude? Like to me, it's like if you're really cocky about meditating, then I don't
mhm.
think you're meditating right.
Correct. Correct.
If you're like, you don't want to know how I am the best meditator in the world, stop me right there. I don't think you're the best
Maybe
meditator in
it's
the
a
world.
punching
If you
thing.
think you're the best at meditating, I think you might have missed the point.
That's very Trumpy. I'm the best at
Yeah,
meditating.
yeah,
Nobody's like,
exactly.
very Trumpy. Um, I know that I said I hated a term. So how can I avoid it but ask you the question, which is the
Sure.
red flag?
Okay.
But are you going on dates? Is it hard to get dates without apps? I'm sorry for asking.
Well, I was in a long-term relationship for years that I'm out of recently. So,
Oh, okay. I'm
uh,
so sorry.
no, it's all right. But like dating a little bit, but
Uh-huh.
like, meeting in real life,
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm as a performer, I might be more in out and about and meeting people and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So, um,
But as a sane, normal person that you are, and smart and informed that you are, I
yes, keep
will
going. Thank
keep
you. This is
going.
now that this will be my app profile. It'll be perfect.
There you go. I'll take some pictures of you later as well. I'm very good at that. What would be your damn it? I'll say it. Red flags. But what would be like in a world where we all have lists and expectations, and I'm amazing, so you have to be amazing as
hmm
well. What would be something that you would be like, nah?
I think there's well, this goes back to I think it's a New York thing. Maybe it's everywhere now, but I think
Hmm.
there's like sort of like this like bragging about how you're not mentally healthy. Like I'm crazy. I have
Wow.
this. I have that. I'm taking these pills and I'm doing this and I'm toxic and I'm like okay, well I want to stay away from you then. I don't know like I
Wow.
think it's like a weird sort of
Women
performative sort
brag
of
about that? I'm sorry for like I've never that's
like,
a
I
thing?
think, like, on social media, there's a lot of, like,
Oh.
like, that sort of, presentation, but then it seeps into reality too of, like, yeah, I
Mhm.
don't know, like, when I I don't know if I guess you could just take what you like, and the inversion of that is, like, a red flag. I would like someone who's, like, done therapy and is mentally healthy and is, like,
Mhm.
not a narcissist and, like,
Mhm.
able to, like I guess like communicate mindfully about stuff and like you
Mhm.
like oh yeah we're going to disagree on stuff and fight about stuff but let's see how we do that, let's see how we
Mhm.
disagree,
Mhm.
can we have like a conversation about it, can there be a dialogue, can there be a back and forth and we come to a solution and work through this as opposed to like nope I'm out, red flag, you're gone, like that kind of thing. So I think um on some level that's what I'm looking for, and then like
Yeah.
yeah, I think also just, like, doing stand-up comedy, I think is a little bit of, like, a lifestyle, so the idea that, like,
Mhm.
I need someone who's, like, tolerant, like, if someone's like, "I need this and I need that," and you need to, like, it's just tough for me to, like, adjust to someone else's lifestyle when I'm
Mhm.
like out performing,
You should
5
date
or
a
6
stripper.
nights a week.
Very
Do you know any?
similar.
All right. I'm looking for a Jewish stripper if you know anyone. Yeah.
Should convert for you. Um, I just want to take a look at my note because I wrote down the name of your show. Hold on, hold on. Where is it? The one with mushrooms and comedy and everything that I kind of want to come to.
Misguided meditation.
Misguided meditation on September 14th, correct?
Yes, yes, at the Psychedelic Assembly in Midtown Manhattan.
Okay.
MattRubyComedy.com/shows. You can
Please tell me more about this whole
okay.
thing because I'm very intrigued. I saw words like psychology, death, mindfulness, and therapy, and I was like, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah,
Like,
well, you gotta come. Yeah,
I will definitely.
it's a comedy show that's funny, but also pretty deep and, yeah, touches on
Mhm.
therapy and mindfulness and psychedelics and death, and there's, live visuals mixed by an artist and an ambient soundscape from a musician, and there's an hour open bar from Misguided Spirits beforehand, and, yeah,
Oh,
I've
cool.
been doing this, for a year and a half or so, and it's cool because it's like topics that I'm interested. Those are all things that I'm interested in, but
Mhm.
sometimes it's tough to get into in a comedy club when you've just got like
Mhm.
a short set and you're trying to just tell jokes. So like there's definitely like funny stuff in it, but then I'm also talking about my experiences with like mushrooms and ayahuasca and my parents dying and kind of things that I liked and didn't like about doing
Mhm.
therapy for years, and
Mhm.
yeah, like stuff that I think is interesting, but isn't always something I can get at in a
Mhm.
normal stand-up set.
Yeah. When did you decide to do ayahuasca? Was there a moment or a thing that triggered it that you felt like you needed to be connected to yourself more, or you were just like always curious about it? Because
Always
I'm
curious.
flirting with ayahuasca and taking my. I've never taken mushrooms either,
Oh, I mean,
and
I'm a big fan of mushrooms. Ayahuasca, I would say do mushrooms first. Ayahuasca is a little more of a
there's a lot of
intensive.
vomiting. Is there vomiting involved?
I
Or
talk about this in the show, about in my experience, 1/3 to 1/2 of the times you might vomit, but also it's, your body is purging something, as a nurse I talked to once said, like, "Anytime your body gets rid of something, it's good."
Mhm.
There's never something happening, and it's almost like when a
That's
baby,
endorsing bulimia as well a little bit.
well, you're no, because they're forcing their body to do something that their body doesn't wanna do.
Correct.
So,
Damn it.
uh but I think, that there's something, people get really hung up on the vomiting, and it's a very tiny fraction of what
Of
the
the whole
overall experience is
experience.
like, so it's as if someone said, "Oh, I could never have a baby," they might throw up. I'll be like, "Okay,
Mhm.
there's other reasons to not do it, but that might not be the best," you know?
Got it.
Um,
So to start with mushrooms and then
that'd be
segue
my advice.
into
But
okay.
yes, ayahuasca's mushrooms, in my opinion, are fun and do it with some friends out in the woods, and you can have a
Mhm.
blast. And ayahuasca is more like you're gonna do some work, and it's gonna be like uh, taking an inward journey with your
Inner self.
depthful self. Yeah.
What'd you see there? Who'd you see?
I saw definitely had some stuff related to my ancestors, to my grandma, to my parents, to Judaism, to past relationships that I've had.
Okay.
I talk about it in the show, like after I the first time I ever threw up on ayahuasca, I was like, "Oh, I don't think I'm gonna throw up." It was a couple hours in,
Okay.
and I was lying down on my side. I was thinking about my dad, and my dad was a prosecutor in New York who,
Mhm.
like, worked with Rudy Giuliani. He was,
Oh,
like, a
wow.
US attorney here, assistant DA, and, like, his whole life was like thinking like a prosecutor and building a case and seeing what's wrong in people, and I realized like I had inherited that in many ways, especially in relationships. I'm very like judgmental, and I'm always like sort of building a case of like why this isn't the right person, and I'm ready to
Mhm.
explain why they're in the wrong and I'm not in the wrong. And I realized like I'd been behaving like a prosecutor, and I had to call up like I it was like I need to call every ex-girlfriend I've ever had and apologize because my father was a prosecutor. And as the word prosecutor, like, hit my brain, the vomit, like, rose up inside of me and just came, like,
This is
spewing out, and I was like, "Oh, this was something that's been inside of me that I needed to get rid of." And, like, kind
wow.
of, like, afterwards, like, was like, "Oh," like, if a word makes you vomit, you never forget what that word is.
Oh, absolutely
And
not.
so it's something I'm trying to be more mindful
What
about.
an interesting experience and an observation. And uh, was that his parenting style? That he was a little bit building case on you? Because if
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, like, he would smell my hands before I could eat dinner to make sure I'd washed
so he
them.
made you a prosecutor.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
It's not that like you inherited something.
No, but I mean, also, like,
It's like the
I'm pretty good
model,
at it. I think I would have been a good prosecutor if I
but
wanted to be, you know?
you've been I hesitate to use the word groomed in a sense
Sure.
for it. So you
Yeah,
were just trained to think like one because you always had to,
yeah, I mean, I
and
used
you were
to
a good one because you were on the receiving end. So you knew all the tricks that a person might use.
Sure. No, I think comedy, stand-up comedy and being a lawyer or a teacher, I think there's, like, overlap between all those things of, like, getting up in front of a room full of
Mhm.
people and trying to explain something, like, I
Mhm.
think I think being a stand-up comedian is sort of like being, like, an absurd lawyer.
Absurd
You're, like,
lawyer.
giving a closing argument, but you're arguing for something that's, like, complete bullshit or nonsense or silly, but,
Mhm.
like, I think there's a lot in common there, so, yeah, I think, and also, like, I talk about it in the show. It's like in a courtroom,
Mhm.
being a prosecutor can be really valuable. You can like help deliver justice and
Mhm.
protect people. And but in a relationship, you don't need a prosecutor. You need a witness. You need
Oh,
someone who's
wow.
like not trying to lock you up. You need someone who's just like, yeah, I saw what happened to you. I was
Oh,
there with you.
wow.
I just like, amen. You want a plus one.
Yeah, but how cool that you kinda became conscious about aware of all of that, that you kinda shed light on it and that you can, I don't wanna say fix it, but approach it differently because I've noticed so many times when I was like, life is so unfair. Why is this happening to me? This is horrible. It's like, oh, it's me. I'm doing this to myself.
Sure.
So it's the things that I've just, picked up from my parents or like, parents do the best they can. I'm not here to, like judge anyone. They really did the best they can to their, capacity, but like just some wrong patterns and wrong opinions and
Yeah.
wrong sentiments and some anxiety that you pick up, you
Yeah,
see
they
that
they
it,
they
it
programmed
follows
you.
you, it programs you.
And then you keep running the code
Correct.
until you figure out how to change the code.
See, but that's, I feel like that was always my purpose for my existence, is to to figure out my code and to
Mm.
change it.
Yeah.
Because like I felt like I was just living, the life was living me almost in a sense.
Mm.
You're an equation, from your parents, the circumstance, the
Sure.
country, the political, like bigger stuff, even especially from like Eastern European people. Like I grew up, with such, in a country with such political turmoil and
Mhm.
wars and all
Yeah,
of
yeah.
that stuff. So it definitely, affects your childhood and everything because you're hungry a lot and things like that. But yeah, I was like, oh, I am doing these things because of this. And I was always just so curious of like breaking everything down and like slowly rebuilding it in a sense that it works for me to, so I'm happy and I'm like not, I don't know, I'm productive. I'm good to myself.
No,
I'm
that
good
all
with my
sounds great.
relationships,
Yeah.
good with my friendships, good with,
Healthy.
better with
You're
my
trying to be
family as
healthy.
well. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you just see that like at the end of the day, it's always you, one way or another.
Well, or like that's the only thing you control.
Correct.
So like the
Correct.
stuff that you don't, if you spend your life, getting annoyed or angry or
Hmm.
obsessing over things that you don't control, like that will make you miserable. Like you focus on yourself because yourself is the thing that you can control.
Correct. And a lot of that victim mode comes from like, I don't want to do any introspection. Look at this. This is happening to me. Like, it's the most horrific thing ever. Not even maybe sometimes questioning that it could be, some decisions they have made
Sure.
or life is just unfair very often.
Yeah.
Accepting that. Acceptance is so big in life.
Totally. And also
Acceptance is,
bad things, people may have done bad things to you, but
yeah.
that is not happening to you right now.
Hmm.
And if you're continuing to let that
Hmm.
have that negative toxic impact on you, you're continuing to let that person or that thing control your life.
Absolutely.
And
Still
that to me
affecting
is
you.
always like
Hmm.
the biggest thing of like, oh, did this person really do something terrible? Well, like the the best way to get back is to like forget about it and like
Hmm.
you like engage with it, process it, and then let it go and move
Absolutely.
forward. And that's I literally think that's part of what the vomiting is teaching you in ayahuasca is
Uh-huh.
this idea of letting things go,
Uh-huh.
of like whatever it is that you're carrying around,
Mhm.
like you're do you really want to be carrying this around all the time? And if
Mhm.
not, how do you process it and how do you let it go and then leave it behind and then move
Correct.
forward?
because it becomes your burden.
Yeah,
Your life is harder because of that.
and that
Uh-huh.
whoever did that thing isn't even thinking about
They
you.
don't even know they
They don't
did
even
it
know, they're
most
not
of the
even thinking
times.
about it, and you just every day, you're either, like, letting it bring you down or spending the mental energy to repress it.
Correct. And like I think that overthinking is also useless, and I am guilty of it a
Me
lot,
too, yeah.
but I'm really trying to less overthink, especially something that other people have done. Like, but I would have never done it. Well, they're not me. Yeah, like not to
Yeah,
have expectations of people doing the right thing that you would do. So like overthinking and letting people be, and acceptance. Again, we're going back to the same, like
sure.
accept that people just do a shitty thing. Not everything has to be a lesson. Not everything is for a greater good. Bad things happen, uncomfortable things happen, and that's totally fine. If stand up taught me anything, is it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to bomb. Like there's no worse feeling than bombing, but
Yeah, I mean,
it's
it's
just
growth, though.
you kinda like, when it happens to me, I just like, "Okay, this is my life now."
Yeah.
Like, these 2 minutes are gonna this is it, I'm in it. And then they're gonna pass, and I'm gonna move on like nothing happened, because new show will come. And it's funny about comedy, like, when you're bombing, like, when you acknowledge it, people actually like
Then they
it.
like you
Like,
more.
they
Yeah, yeah.
like, "You know what? That's cool, I like you now." Like, they kinda are with you on it. So, I don't know, just being uncomfortable is so avoided a lot for no reason. Being
Yeah,
uncomfortable is a part of life.
as well yeah, I
Sit
think,
in it.
like,
Yeah.
accepting reality. Like,
Yeah.
if you're, like, not accepting reality, then that has, like, a chain effect of, like, creating all kinds of problems in your life. So,
Oh, yeah.
like, it's just sort of like, "Okay, this is what's happening," you know?
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of times it's not your fault. I go back to, like, there's things you control and things you don't control. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes it's a crappy show or the mic isn't working or the audience sucks or something else, and, like, you
Mhm.
gotta be like, "Well, like, you try your best and you do your thing, and then it's like, "Okay, well, this isn't going well. Why do you guys think this isn't going well?" And,
Yeah.
like, just engage in something like some
Mhm.
reality, check on the whole situation.
Yeah, almost demystify that like awkward moment that we're all in the room, and it's, or should we talk? Like, yeah,
Well,
let's not talk about
and
it.
also
It's
yeah,
okay.
the
Yeah.
worst thing you can do is pretend it's not happening when everyone knows it's happening.
I can't do that on stage or in real
I
life.
think that's good.
When it gets uncomfortable, especially like when it's like a situation with multiple people, I'll be the one to first say it. Everybody, please. What is going on? Let's just do it. What, you're upset with him? Okay, let's just fix. Like I
Yeah, yeah.
cannot. It becomes such a burden in
Yeah,
the
well, do you
room.
think I feel like Americans sometimes have problems with that. I feel like, sometimes people from other cultures are a little more like, yeah, they'll just say whatever's on their mind, whereas Americans are like, think we are always supposed to be smiling and just sort of pretending everything's fine.
I know, but we are, on the other hand, maybe too rough. So I think the formula is somewhere in between.
Yeah,
It's like pick your battles, and I've made plenty of mistakes by pointing out things that I
sure.
shouldn't have.
Me too. Me too.
Guilty of that as well. And I also smiled when I wasn't supposed to, so I did both. And with my experience from both cultures, it's the best to meet halfway. Like, we are way too harsh, we'll tell you everything. I mean, I've told my managers, like, do you know that nobody respects you? I literally had conversations like this with people who were my bosses, thinking that, hey, you need to know this.
Yeah, yeah.
You just have to know that, like, nobody respects you. Everybody's talking behind your back. Like,
Okay.
but
How'd that
I
go?
sh- oh, I was like, oh yeah, not there and then, but it didn't work out. And
Yeah.
I have a little hint that I made a mistake. I'm not so sure, but maybe
Okay.
that was one of the battles I should have, picked a little more carefully. But you live and you learn. So yeah, it's addressing things, knowing when, of course, but addressing, I think it's way better than pretending,
I'm
it's not
with you. I'm
happening.
with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't do you initiate uncomfortable conversations?
I didn't used to. I think I've gotten better at that though.
Uh-huh.
I'm just sort of like, it's not even that it's more that like living in like something that feels like false reality is like so painful for me that I'll be like, look, I can't keep doing this, like we got to talk about this, like
Mhm.
because I think there's a lot of people who are just like, well, let's just not talk about it and coast and pretend or like act like
Ooh.
it's not happening, and I'm just like that's really hard for me.
Oh, ghosting. Interesting. When I talk to
Coast, not ghost.
Oh. Damn it. I heard what I wanted to hear.
Yeah,
But
well, we can talk about
I
ghosting
kind
though.
of segued. And like women ghost more than men. I want
I
to tell
believe
you
that.
that.
I believe that.
And
Well, you guys don't like confrontation.
uh, it's not that. It's that guys don't take rejection well.
Oh, that's true too.
They take it better than women. Women will always like, well, okay, we can maybe hang out. Like, I don't know. But guys, when you say no, uh, again, I'm speaking from my experience,
Mhm.
and we actually recently had a little like uh, man on the street type of thing, and we did it for a few days, and you can tell like the difference between male and female experiences. Like women will ghost creepy guys. It's just like, standard stuff.
Mhm.
But guys take it usually harder than women.
Okay.
I if you're with somebody for a long time or for a longer time, or you've been on multiple dates, this is what most of the women say, and I kind of agree with it. Most of the women I spoke with at a Washington Square Park. Uh, not I don't have any bigger data. Um, if you've been with somebody for a longer time, then you kind of owe them an explanation.
Sure.
But it's like a one date or two. If you don't like them, it's kind of safer just to disappear. And I've decided to live by that. And sorry, I
Safer
decided.
though? Like, okay, so I feel like you can just say a
Uh-huh.
send a text message of like, "Hey, I'm not really feeling it," or something like that. I wish you the best.
Oh no, 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 no,
W-
no, 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 buddy. No. Can I send you? Can I read
Sure,
you
of
something?
course.
So I was like, I'm not gonna ghost people because that's not nice. I'm just gonna tell them, the truth because I don't want to be ghosted. So I told this guy, "Hey, I don't think we're a good match, but all the best,
Yeah.
right?"
Okay.
So, so you were saying we're not a good match, which is fine. Sort of stupid. Your pictures are all makeup trying to look like a supermodel. How about you sit down for a second? You don't look like your pictures, by the way. I also make over six figures. Fuck off. Peace out. You're retarded. By the way, blocking your number, you're pretty cunty. Don't waste my time when you're ghosted. So this is what I got.
The most objectionable part is him saying that he's ghosting you.
Yes,
Like,
he closed with
what,
I'm going to be ghosting you, which made no sense.
amazing. Well, he sounds like a huge dick. I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, this is what I get back for being honest. So like now if it's like a date or two, I will just not say
Well,
anything.
okay,
If they
so
ask me, I'll be honest.
sure. Well, okay, so like, is the person? I'm okay with like, is the person trying to go out with you again, and you just never reply?
Um, that I will reply to.
Okay.
That I will reply to. But if nobody's saying anything and it's up in
Yeah,
the
then you can.
air,
If it's an online date and afterwards no one's saying anything, then
yeah.
I don't think you need
If
to
he
like.
seeks me again, then I'll
Yeah,
just say, sorry, I'm busy for forever. Like I'll think
yeah,
of something to or just maybe sometimes I won't. I don't know,
yeah.
man.
I mean,
Now I'm thinking, I kind of
like, I think if I like
look
if
what I
some
got
if
back.
yeah,
Look
that
what
guy
I.
sucks. What am I gonna, But like, I don't know. I like to, be the change you want to see in the world. Like how to, treat other people the way you want to be treated. I think, and so it's like, would you, like in general, I would like if I'm. I think it all depends on the context. Like if it's just
Hmm.
one online date, I don't think you need to like, follow up if you're
Correct.
if the other person isn't reaching out, you can just let it go. But if you've been out on multiple dates or something like that, or like, you had a lengthy conversation and then we're going to meet up and then like the person's like, "Hey, how about next week?" and then you just never write anything.
Oh, that's
That to me
horrible.
seems kind
That's
of rude, but
horrible.
like,
That is
well,
horrible.
plenty of people are doing it.
Yeah, that I'm not able to do.
Yeah, but like this guy sucks because then I just feel like so like you might 10 other people might have handled
Hmm.
it fine, but now
Hmm.
because of this one guy, you're like, well, I'm just not going to do this anymore. And so now it's like as a society, I just feel like this is how things keep getting worse and worse. It's
I
like
know.
when one, but like maybe it's not that uncommon. I don't date dudes, so I don't know like what happens. But yeah, that sucks that you.
I'll be
I mean, this
honest.
guy is clearly like just
He's a
like
piece of work.
yeah,
I knew that
wrestling
as
with
soon as
some
I saw
stuff.
him. Yeah.
Like he sounds like not well.
He sounds drunk. Um, he was, I believe, intoxicated. But a lot of I've had that happening before, and my friends like that men just take rejection a little harder.
Sure. No, I can see it. I
Mm-hmm.
think, is we have fragile egos. And
Mm-hmm.
also I think, yeah. I mean, sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
I
yeah, like
know,
there's shitty
I
men out
know,
there. I know
I
for sure,
know. There's just shitty people out there, men,
Sure.
women, and
Well, it's also everything is so like anonymous and transactional and like just sort of like, oh, I met you on you swiped into my life and now you'll ghost out of it and it's like you were never even there, as opposed to like, yeah, but that was a real human being. That was an actual
mm-hmm.
person
Mm-hmm.
that you just did that to. But like, I think in our heads, it's sort of bleeding together of like, is this a real human being or is this like a character in the video game that I'm playing?
Mm-hmm.
Because I am the star of this movie or video game and I am choosing what I want all the time and this is working for me and this isn't, as opposed to like, no, 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 that was a human
There was a
being.
person waiting
Yeah.
for your text
Yeah.
back. There was a person that liked you.
Yeah.
There was a person that maybe wanted to see you again.
Yeah.
And oh my
But I
God.
think in general, I think like we go back to the same thing again. You control like you texted something very polite and like gracious, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And if this guy wants to act like some awful person, then like that's about him, not you. And like so I do think there's something about
Mm-hmm.
women too, though. Like why would that actually hurt you? Like, I feel this way about, like, YouTube comments. So, like, female
Mm-hmm.
comedians get so much more hate. I mean, any woman popular on social media gets so much more hate in
Mm-hmm.
the comments than the men get. But the men get some. But I think part of it is, like, women seem to be affected by it more. I just
Uh-huh.
feel like men are just like, "Oh, yeah, whatever. Like, fuck that guy." And so, like, why is it hurting you? Because I think on some
Mm-hmm.
level, like, I go back to, like, why would you let that guy have that sort of control over you? Like, you did everything
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
There's no problem here. Like, this guy's a dick. Like,
It's definitely all on him. I'm fully aware of that. Like this has nothing to do with me or uh, but
but you're changing your behavior because of him.
n- yeah, oh my God, you're making me think now. Why'd you do that to me?
It's
Now I
good to
feel like a
think.
piece of
No,
shit.
I mean, I'm not saying, like, there's only one right way to handle this, but,
Yeah.
like, I like,
I
I
try to be as nice as I can. When I'm not owed an answer, I'll rather avoid it
sure, that's fine.
just because
That's fine.
I don't know. I don't want to read a word cunt or like I don't know.
Yeah.
Why would I?
Yeah, no, I get it.
If you're not seeking for a closure,
Yeah, it
let's
all
just skip
depends on
it.
the
Let's just
context.
skip it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But if I've seen somebody multiple times and definitely give them that respect. I
Yeah.
know that like that's what I want for
Yeah,
myself.
I mean, and yeah, men can be very fragile. We're very delicate for a bunch of tough guys, you know?
I mean, all of us, man. I'm like, as I'm speaking, I'm realizing things that, I'm doing wrong probably that I have to like
I don't know
actually have
about
to
wrong, but
contemplate.
like, I think there's plenty of people doing exactly
Uh-huh.
what you're saying. I think it's just sort of like, how do you want to be treated? I didn't invent this as a concept, It's
Correct,
like,
correct.
but like, we all get it, right? It's like I just, as much as you can, try to treat people the way that you want to be treated, but also if they're like gonna act like that or
Correct.
behave that way, then. But it's like, I guess there seems like there's some implicit sense that that's what men are like. So maybe that would be like, because
That's
then it's like
fair.
a dangerous mindset to get into of like,
Mm-hmm.
every man I meet is that like, oh, he's gonna be nice to me and see if he can get something off me, and then if I say no, he's gonna show me his real colors, which is like that
Mm-hmm.
dude. And then that can start to be baked
It's
into your
dangerous.
mind,
Yeah.
and like, then you just like, I think there's a lot of people who come out of the gate being like, how are you gonna screw me over?
Wow.
Sort of thing. As a dude, the version that you guys like, oh, how do I know you're not like a creep or a serial killer or something? I'm like, I don't know. Nice to meet you too. I don't know. Like what? It's like,
I've said that before to people.
yeah, it's like, you know, it's you're just sort of being lumped in with some nefarious group that you're like, well, I'm not part of that, but I guess this is what's happening in our society now. So I
Oh
gotta
man,
like
it's
play
tough out
defense.
there, man. It's tough for everyone. I think that maybe online dating might not be for me. I'm still gonna give it a shot for a little bit because there's just such volume that you have to get the synthesize the synthesize, is that a word?
I don't know. What? Say it again.
God. When I'm tired, I forget English. That's what you get when you talk to immigrants. Lose all your senses.
Oh, desensitized. There you go.
Wow. I cannot even repeat it.
Well, you know sensitive.
Sensitive?
So put a D in front of it and a
We're
"fied"
not
at the
doing
end of
this.
it.
I'm very
Okay.
humiliated.
Alright.
But
It's a
thank
hard
you.
it's a hard word.
No, it's not. It's me.
I know, I can't even now you've gotten in my desensitized.
Desensitized.
Yeah.
I almost said desanitized.
Well, I messed it up too. I
My
told you to
my
put a
brain was
"fied" at
good.
the end, so, like, already I'm confused.
Thank you. But yeah, I feel like as mindful as you are with the process and you try to do the right thing, it's just the volume is so high that you're like, oh hey, I don't want to let's just move it on. Let's just keep moving. So
Yeah.
maybe
Well, but this
that's
also may
it's a
be different experiences for men and women. Like, I think women get, like, their a woman's inbox on one of these apps, I think, might look
really
very different than, dudes.
okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I guess you're right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Too many choices can also screw you over.
sure. Well, then everyone becomes disposable.
On that note, you're definitely not disposable. It's
Ah,
been an
thank
hour.
you.
It's been an
I'll take
hour.
it. I'll
You
take
are
it.
a delight, and you made me realize a couple of things about myself and dating that I have to maybe tweak. So that's good.
Well,
It's
I
good
mean,
stuff. This
it's
was
also
therapy for me. Thank you.
if
I owe you money.
it's working, keep doing it, and if it's not, then try something else. That's just sort of like my general rule about life. So it's sort of like keep doing what you're doing if it's going well, and if it's not, then like
I just caught
start
myself
moving some stuff around.
contradicting about a couple of things. I just have to dig a little deeper. Well, something to think about. That's a good thing. Plugs, promotions.
Sure. MattRubyComedy.com is my website. That's where you can find all my stuff. I have a newish special on YouTube called Substance, where I
Hmm.
do 4 stand-up sets, one high, one drunk, one on shrooms, and one sober. And there's
This is
documentary stuff
everything.
leading up to each
Uh
days.
huh. Thank you again.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Absolutely. Peace.